Welcome to Vibes and Side Eyes, where the tea is hot and the takes are hotter.
Hey, it's your girl Maria J.
And I'm Taylor Made. Welcome to the podcast where we discuss real life, pop culture, and everything in between.
We're bringing you the good vibes.
And the side eyes. Let's get
into everybody. Welcome back to another episode. Yes, and happy Easter to everybody. We really should have been saying this last weekend, but it's okay. You will get this once Easter has passed.
Right. I hope y'all had an amazing Easter for sure.
I know out this way it was a little rainy and kids probably were sliding through mud and everything, but hopefully they were able to move everything inside.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say let's jump right into the vibe check.
Let's get into it. So, vibe check today, it has been a day, but it still turned out pretty good. It was raining. We had like some thunderstorms this morning. And y'all, I'm so excited because I have been working on my garden. So I have my little starter seeds and everything. So I'm so excited. That is the vibe for this week. I'm showing off my green thumb, y'all.
I love that you and one of my other friends, y'all are both like sharing your garden content. And I just freaking love it. I do not have a green thumb, but I think it's so cool to watch you guys do it. I find it very relaxing watching you guys. Not me doing it, but you watching you guys for sure. So I love that. I can't wait to see that on the vlog. On your vlog.
Yes, thank you, because it is coming. But I will say this, when you say you don't have a green thumb, so most people will say that, but you either underwater or overwater plants, and I'm learning that too.
Okay.
Because I have killed a many of plant.
It seems like it's one of those things where you have to learn. It's kind of like knitting. Like you have to learn to be patient with it and like trust the process and like all those things. But yeah, maybe I'll get into it one day. I don't know. I've been thinking about doing a flower bed just to have something to do with Anaya, but we'll see. We might do that this summer.
Yes.
Yeah, no, same thing. It's been quite the day. So energy levels go up and down. That might be why, but it's been quite the day. But it's been busy. Nothing really too much to complain about. But it's just been quite the day, quite the week, honestly. And then my monthly's coming up. So that also adds some stuff to TMI to you guys.
Absolutely.
But, being a woman at all, it's like comes the time when you be pissed off for no reason, like just no reason at all. That's the vibe I'm at for the most part. But no, I was gonna say about the rain this morning. That was such good sleep. Oh my gosh! Yes. I woke up a little bit like around 4 or 5, and I heard it raining. I said, "Oh yes, oh yes," and I still go back in for a couple more hours, child, before I got up.
With that little bit of that piece of thunder, I was like, yeah, it's giving ASMR vibes.
Yeah, it wasn't giving like tornado warning. It was just regular like rain and thunderstorm. Yeah.
Yes, we love to hear it.
Woo.
So y'all, I don't know if we have any Love and Hip Hop Atlanta fans out there, but y'all, it has been crazy on season 13. So the latest episodes, y'all know we've been dealing with this whole 24 Hours and Selma situation. They in the music business, of course. So Selma, she was accused of cheating with this guy named Cooley. And so she just kept denying it. She's like, oh no, I haven't been messing with him. And so let me just give a little backstory. So 24 Hours and Selma have been together, I believe, 13 to 15 years. And she says that she was messing with Cooley 10 years ago.
Pause. I have a question.
Yes.
So 24 Hours is a person and Selma is a person.
Yes.
Okay, unfortunately, given that this is a movie, I'm like waiting for. I'm like 24 Hours in Selma. I'm like, oh, this sounds like a good civil rights movie.
Right. It is giving Dr. King all the way because
I think these are two different people. Okay, sorry.
Yes, but he's like a producer, and I think he's a rapper too. But he just does a little bit of rap. But I think he's more of a producer. And then Selma, she's a rapper. But the tea is just hot because I'm like, how are you saying that you were messing with this dude 10 years ago, but you've been married for like 13 to 15? Ma'am, it's still cheating. Yes. And so she's going back and forth, not at all. Going back and forth, being defensive. And she's like, no, I haven't messed with nobody and all this and that. But then Sierra pulls up receipts. That's another cast member off of Love and Hip Atlanta. And she's like, yeah, so Cooley is Sierra's brother-in-law.
Okay.
And so she pulled her receipts off of Snapchat, screenshots, and I was like, oh, yeah, Selma has been cheating. So y'all, we're dealing with that whole situation. 24 hours went off on Lil Zane, and they just got into a whole thing. And I'm just like, this is too much. Because first of all, if somebody came to me and said that my significant other was cheating, I think I'm going to listen to him a little bit and get to the bottom of it. He's being dismissive about the whole thing. So it's very frustrating. Sir, see that she's cheating. Listen to us. But y'all, if y'all have been watching Love and Hip Atlanta, drop that in the comments.
So my popcorn opinion is, I recently found out that, and this doesn't apply to every single school, obviously, but majority of schools now kids do not have textbooks at all. And they don't have lockers. You guys don't have, maybe I'm late. I don't know how late I am. I did ask ChatGPT why this was, because I'm just like perplexed. Per ChatGPT, there was so many different reasons on why, but the first few reasons that showed up was everything is now digital. I do understand the whole textbook thing, but I don't know. Like, we used to complain about the textbooks. We all got humpbacks right now because of textbooks. Absolutely. At the same time, it gave you something in class tangible to touch and read and whatever. I feel like if I would have had a tablet in class, I would have really fell asleep. I already did fall asleep, but I really would have fell asleep with a tablet. Like, it wouldn't have had anything I could touch. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't know. It was like a sense of like, okay, I need to make sure I have my textbook. It gave you like something to be responsible for almost as well. You know, whereas I think the tablets, they just put it back on the charger like it's daycare or something. Put it back on the charger.
So impersonal.
So I was just like, okay. And then the lockers, I feel like the lockers, that was just like so cool. Like, you know, you got your own locker. I remember being so excited about that when it changed from cubbies to lockers. I felt like a big kid. I thought it was so cool. You can also, I never got to personalize my locker, but a lot of kids personalize their lockers. I just think that was so cool. Another reason why was safety and security concerns, which I could understand about the locker part. I get where they were coming with that or going with that. They were basically, it said in there that basically it was like so that people can't hide paraphernalia in there and things like that. And I was just like, you guys, this is like Gen something, whatever Gen they are so smart. They don't need a locker to have paraphernalia. They're gonna have paraphernalia. They're gonna bring it another way. That's not really going to get rid of it, but I guess it makes it less easy. I don't know. I'm like, well, if you see that old dude is selling drugs out his locker, then confiscate that locker. Look, like, it's pretty easy. You see someone standing by the locker every period, and you see someone handing someone something from the locker every period. 1 + 1 = 2. But why are you getting rid of all the lockers? I just thought that was so cool. And then the obnoxious slams. I mean, that all builds character.
Yes. And having to play around with that combination lock.
That is the purest anxiety ever. Because you're trying to get to class. And it's like, and that brings me to the third one, which is time efficiency. They found that if you take away the lockers, the kids are miraculously getting to class quicker because they don't have the textbooks they have to take to the locker and do the switcheroo like we had to do. But I'm like, but that also built character. And I feel like that's why we're able to go on transit systems now.
Yes.
We had to figure out time management. And yes, some of us was better at it than others. But I do feel like that built a lot of character. And so it's kind of sad thinking that they don't have to deal with textbooks anymore or lockers. Like, I'm like, dang, that sucks for you guys a little bit. I don't know. The lockers were kind of cool. I get the textbooks a little bit, but like the lockers, come on.
You know how we used to have like those paper textbook covers that we used to fold up and put on there?
I used to make
that was my thing. Yes.
I couldn't make them. So I used to have shout out. I'm gonna give a big shout out to someone. I'm gonna name them Brianna, Breezy. You know who you are. Yes. You made the best ones every time. I know she was tired of me. I know you would. I'm gonna text you later and message you on Facebook and ask you to make another one for me because she was so good. Shameless plug.
Yes, but man, they are missing a big chunk of, like, if you're not doing that, making your own cover, carrying your textbooks, and opening up that locker with that combination lock, you are not living the life.
I'm saying. And what are the nerds getting slammed into now?
Right, just straight wall. They don't have nothing else.
And that's a hazard. Those lockers added some cushion padding, just a little bit. You didn't have to get a straight concussion. You got a mild concussion, okay? Now you're getting straight cement brick. Boom.
That almost it makes me wonder if they still have nurses in school. I know the nurse's office used to smell funny. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm done. I'm so done. What?
It used to smell like earwax. Yeah.
The nurse was probably in there farting because they ain't had nothing to do all day. But
they did not.
You fine. You ain't got no fever. Bye. Right. Lay down for a little bit. Okay, bye. That's what they always say. Lay down. I'm like, might as well just give me some ginger ale and send me on my way. Like, what are you good for?
Where's my saltines?
I can't die and they be like, lay down. That's crazy. That's crazy.
And that table used to have that little you know what? I have PTSD. That little paper sound when I'm laying on it.
And I'm like, I'm trying to sleep. And every time I move around, it's crinkling in my ear. Piss me off.
Right.
You look fine, friend.
Right. Let me pull out them toothpicks real quick and check your hair for lice. Let me make sure.
And let me check it for scoliosis while we're here.
Right. Some weird stuff. We need to go back and reevaluate what really happened in the nurse's station because
I feel like
traumatized.
Yeah, I'm Jeff F. The Epstein files going on up in there. Because why y'all had to take our shirts off and bend down like that?
Right. And at school, right? You know what?
Bye. Weird. That was weird. I'm sorry. That was giving weird stuff. Because what are you talking about?
Right. And you know what? When I went to the doctor as a child, they didn't check me for no scoliosis. I don't remember not one check.
It was a scam. Somebody wanted to see some kid stuff because I'm confused. That just was so odd to me.
Mm-hmm.
We'll never know. Them pictures are out there, child. They've been out there for years at this point. If that's the case, ain't nothing I can do. But I'm seeing my scoliosis back.
So yeah, we were talking about the whole scoliosis check and everything when it comes to school. I don't know what just happened. We're back. So y'all, we have a special treat for you guys tonight. If y'all have not seen the movie Sinners, you are definitely missing out. You need to go check it out ASAP. Pause this video and go watch it and then come back and enjoy the rest of it. But we are about to get down into it and really highlight some key parts in this movie. First of all, they did an amazing job with this movie. It's not your typical vampire type of scenery. So they really put a lot of good gems in there. And we're about to dig deep and go into some of those things and explain.
That's right. And you guys, spoiler alert. Like Maria J said, we need, if you need to pause the podcast, go watch it and come on back. It's definitely on the streaming apps right now, so go check it out. It's an amazing film, you guys. And am I being dramatic by saying it should? I feel like it will change your perspective on so many things. And we'll go into that as we discuss our favorite moments and parts or scenes within the movie.
Yes. So I think I'm going to start it off by talking about the beginning of the movie. Okay. So in the beginning, when they kind of showed a clip of Sammy coming back to his father's church because his dad was a pastor and he busted into the church. He had his guitar with him. He was holding on to that guitar for dear life. And his daddy was like, look, just let it go. But I kind of looked at that moment as he has a passion and a dream to pursue his music, but all the different things that he had to go through that we're going to get into with this movie, he was just like, man, I really don't want to let it go, but is it really worth the trouble is what I got from that scene.
No, I think you're right. It was very powerful when we first saw that scene. Obviously, your take on this scene is so different than when it comes back up later in the movie. You see why he came in the way he came in. Yeah, because when he first came in, I definitely had my own opinion on what could have been the case or whatever. Also, when he came in, when I saw him first, it looked like he was angry. Like I saw it as anger versus something else. And so, because I almost thought, I was like, is he about to hit the daddy with the guitar or whatever? Like, to me, I was getting anger. But then when it looped around, it was giving fear. I've just been through something extremely traumatic, and now I'm coming back to the only thing that I know. And I would say the last thing that I took from that, especially watching it at the beginning and at the end, that scene. I think sometimes it does show, and maybe I'm getting too deep. It felt like he represents a lot of the times people come to people that are in the church, religious, things like that, and they're coming because they've been through something traumatic. Obviously it's not vampires typically, hope not. But it's just like, whatever that is, you can put whatever in that blank. And sometimes, especially with, I feel like his dad being that preacher, he needed his father, but he got a preacher in that moment, right? He needed his dad in that moment. He needed that parental person in that moment. And I feel like sometimes we miss the mark within the church, and we want to, tell the gospel and do all those things, which is great. But sometimes people just need you to tell them it's okay. God loves you. We got you. Come on in. Let's talk about it. Blah, blah, blah. And I feel like that brings in the mental health of it all and things like that. And sometimes, yes, we do need Jesus and all that, but like also I'm truly struggling with something. And I just need, I don't know. I felt like that was that moment. And I feel like the message to the father, it went over his head, like, oh, my son needs me. At least that's how I saw it. Like, I feel like he needed his dad, and the dad didn't show up, but the preacher did in that moment. I thought that was interesting.
That's a good take on that part. Yes. And then so that is how the movie opens up. So then we get to the part of, and I know this is not on our roster sheet, but I'm gonna just bring it up real quick because I noticed something different. And so when Smoke and Stack were going to buy the property that was going to be the juke joint, remember the guy that was selling the property. So one of the twins was on the floor and he was like, hey, has this floor been cleaned? And so the white guy goes, yeah. And so he was like, well, what was on it? And he just kept talking over it. And so I thought in my mind, I'm like, that goes with a lot of our different history of brown and people of color. And a lot of things get built on top of trauma that has been inside of somewhere. And so I'm like, for him to notice a stain, that had to be a blood stain, I'm assuming, and he's still going to sell the place. And I'm just like, that is crazy. So you wiping away the memory for money. And that's just a repeated cycle that still happens today.
Historically, it happens. And we talked in the last few episodes back, we talked about ghosts, paranormal, things of that nature. A lot of the times, I think it's because you're on a slaughter of land where people's lives were taken traumatically, most likely, and now you just built a 4-story, mansion on it, and it's like, you think man Willie ain't gonna come up in your house? He gonna come up in your house, and he was there first.
Yes.
So it's just like, I don't know. I think, yeah, you're 100% right. His history has shown that, we take certain land, we, make it look all pretty, we plow it over and all that. And people think, oh, this is, if I plow all this away and take all this away, yeah, well, it used to be a cemetery, but who cares? Like, we got all the bodies out, blah, blah. And it's just like, you build on top of it and you think you're erasing things, and you're not. You're just truly not. Because think about it, that's embedded within the earth now. Earth is alive. It's a live planet. Okay. So it remembers, and I don't know, it gets deep. You're right. Really good take on that. When you first watched it, did you kind of catch up on, did you automatically think it was blood? Because I didn't think that. I just thought, I don't know what I thought.
I did not. Yeah. I didn't even really think too much into that scene. I was just like, oh yeah, they're just about to buy the place and turn it into a juke joint.
Like, well, of course, why didn't I think of that when it first happened? I knew something shady, but honestly, I thought it was something like, what did I think it was? I thought maybe they saw, like, maybe it was more run down than they were alluding to, or something, like rot in the wood or something. I don't know. I just thought something else. I definitely didn't think that.
Yeah, and then also with that same conversation, they were talking about the Klan, and he was like, oh yeah, they don't exist anymore. And I'm just like,
And they still say that to this day. And it still exists to this day. They just don't wear hoods.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, they don't go under the same name and have the same outfits, but child, they are well and alive. Yes, they're in corporations, they're in everyday life. So we just gonna leave it there. He was just trying to skate over the fact that there was some history there. So then it kind of moves into them, meeting back up with Sammy and doing all these things. And just to skip to the train station part, their part right there, I was like, okay. So remember, they came into contact with Slim.
Oh, Slim.
Yes, and that was played by Delroy Lindo. And so, he had a place that he would always go to on the weekends and play his piano and do a little singing. So he had his mind stuck on going to that same place as routine. And Stack asked him, Stack is the bad twin.
Right.
And he was like, hey, come play for me at our new juke joint tonight. I'll give you $20 each night. And so at first he was sticking to his guns and he was like, nah, because this place that I go to has been around for a long time. They'll be here at least 10 more years. That was principle to me. That's what it stuck out as. Then Stack gave him that Irish beer from Chicago and the music kind of changed. And so Slim was like, oh no, I'll come play. He was like, this beer is real good. And I was like, there it is. He is soul to soul.
Yeah, soul to soul. And it's something like that because his gut told him, no, I ain't got no problem where I'm at. And that happens so many times, so much throughout any of our lives. So, I related to that a lot because it's like all that glitters is not gold. And sometimes you learn that the hard way. And he did. But yeah. And it's funny because if you think about it, if he didn't go, it would have been a whole different movie. You know what I'm saying? It would have been a whole different type of things. Yeah. Funny how things happen. Puts it all into motion.
Yep. And he was like, because at first he was like just operating with his own mind, but then he just got persuaded. And it's like every time, like, y'all will see that once we kind of break down the movie, it's going to be one common denominator on each section when we talking about it. And I'm going to see if y'all peep game. I'm going to put a quiz in this podcast episode.
A quick question though. Just watching the film and even freshly watching it today, who's your favorite smokers?
Ooh, so I would say my favorite is Smoke.
Ooh, okay. Why?
Because he has like that bad boy tender side to him. Like he's the best of both worlds. He has both of them going on for himself. And plus he was a logical thinker. Like they both could get hot-headed, but he was more like, okay, he was rational with his. Who was your favorite twin?
I agree. Same. We would have to fight. I like Smoke too because it's the same. Like he seemed like a lover, not a fighter, but then also he would fight for his brother. You know what I'm saying? Like he seemed like both. But if he had to get down, he could get down. But I feel like you said, he's very logical, and I like that. He's sensible. He's not the hothead guy who's gonna get into bar fights. Unfortunately, if his brother's there, he will get into a bar fight because then he has to fight with his brother. But otherwise, if Stack's not there, Smoke ain't gonna fight. He's the one who would talk it down and de-escalate. That's what it is. He'll de-escalate a situation where Stack escalates.
Flying off the handle.
Yes, absolutely.
Shout out to Michael B. Jordan for playing such a wonderful part of two people. We love that for you.
Absolutely. And I love that. And I'm going to send you a clip actually of him talking about how important it was to, I think he's talking about, anyways, I'll just say he's talking about both characters and how it was important for him to make that distinguish where you knew which one was talking at which time, other than the colors. At some point you start noticing one wears a certain color and one wears the other. But even then, like if you go back and really watch it, what you did, you even notice that they talk different. Like Stack talks different than Smoke talks, you know what I mean? And so those little nuances.
We all got, different versions of ourselves that we live with every day. I think everybody has a little bit of Smoke and Stack inside of them. Being able to kind of build out almost 3 characters in this movie was definitely a gift and a challenge and a very rewarding one. I had twin consultants that I got a chance to talk to who were identical twins, so got a chance to really talk to what it was like growing up, having somebody that looks exactly like you. What's the psychology behind it? I work with a dialect coach, Beth McGuire, that I've worked with for a few films now, who helped really in the figuring out what the childhood trauma is for these guys that influenced the way that they walk, the way they talk, their cadence, their mannerisms, how they rested their body. And then there was like a whole technical element to how we had to shoot it. And that was extremely difficult. I worked with a twin double who I would have to tell and kind of premeditate what my acting choices would be when I turned into the other brother. So anticipating those movements and lining up the continuity of my choices so I can react the right way to myself was a challenge, but at the same time, very rewarding.
It frustrates me just a little bit on a sidebar that he didn't get more awards this season because, my gosh, the way you have to be such a good actor to pull all that off is insane. The only person I've seen twin-wise that's pulled that off that wasn't truly a twin has not been since it was Lindsay Lohan on The Parent Trap. That is the last. That was obviously not a dramatical film or whatever. It was just a lighthearted thing. But that's the last time I remember being like, y'all sure this ain't two people? I was very confused as a child because I'm like, no, these are two different people. Like it has to be, right? That the last time I felt like that was with them, and the next time I felt it was with him. Like I'm like, wait, I logically know that Michael B. Jordan ain't got no daggone twin. But he might have a twin. Because what is this? You know, it was a great performance. It really was believable.
It was. And it made me think about the clip earlier in the movie when they were going to buy the juke joint. And so the white guy says, oh, are y'all cousins? No, are y'all twins? And he said, no, we cousins. And I feel like that came from a place of all Black people look alike. Like, sir, we do not. And now the time that they actually are twins, you asking, are they actually twins?
Yeah,
I found that funny.
Yeah, no, I love their moments with. It sounds weird to say, but I do love their moments with those Klans members, guys, because it was just always this like, we know you, sir. Like we see right through you, sir, and he's just trying to be all smooth. And to me, like you said earlier, I won't say too much on it, but that's all the time in certain corporate settings and things like that. It's like, I'll be like, I know exactly what I'm looking at right now and what this situation is. I'm going to let you live, okay? Because I need a job. Just know I see you, brother. Like, I see, not brother. I see you, sir. And I see what you're trying to do. Okay? You ain't sick. And I like those moments of that because they always made him feel more uneasy than he was trying to make them feel, if that makes sense.
Yep. Yes, they did very well. That's a good question though. Yeah, but I agree. He played the heck out of their role. Like you really did feel like you were looking at two different people. Love both of them down.
That brings me into one of my favorite scenes, which is Annie and Smoke. And so I thought that scene was so well done and obviously hot towards the end. But even just like how it started, he went and saw his son that was deceased and checked on that first, and you just really saw the anguish in his face, and just like you didn't even know, we didn't know the story as watchers, right? But we knew something big had happened there. Just watching him and Annie and that, like, there was such a respect that he had for her in like this love and affinity and affection. And I was just like, wow. And you could just see their connection. And as mad as she was and all this stuff at him, like you could just tell she probably prayed for him every single day. All these different things like kept him well protected, even in the midst of everything else that was going on. I just thought that was so beautiful. It was very healing. Their story was very healing. Just really beautiful. You don't get to see that a lot with a full figured. She's not like, I wouldn't even call her like super plus size or nothing, but she's just like a full figured curvy woman. And Michael B. Jordan, you don't get to see those kind of like love stories, even though it happens all the time. You don't really get to see it all the time, and just to see it in that setting, and I just thought it was gorgeous. I like how they played off of each other. I thought that was beautiful. That was one of my scenes that
Yes, that was a really good scene. They made a cute couple.
I was like, but then I realized she wasn't single in real life.
Yes, a very beautiful chocolate covered couple. I love it. We are down for the cause. Yes, so that is a good scene. And so I noticed that like her house, she was kind of like, I'll say like the candy lady back in the day, because she had like some little kids come in and they got some items from her and then they went on about their way. But I also noticed like on her window, she had different things posted on there that she sold. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So she was into her side hustle. They even had a conversation about that, and he was trying to give her money and she was like, no, I don't want your blood money. And he was like, all money is bad money. But she was like, not as bad as yours. So I was like,
Oh,
okay. Yep.
I really loved how they even showed how connected she was and how grounded she was. I think maybe that's the word, how grounded she was and in her faith and in her practices and things like that, because they never really came out to say what she was, but I think we all kind of knew it was that like witch doctor type of vibe almost, but still mixed in with faith and things like that. And I thought that was so interesting. And there's a lot of people out there that's like that to this day who practice a lot of different things that are meshed together. And I thought it was just so beautiful, such a beautiful way to show it without it seeming yucky or demonic or anything like that. I really loved how they did that so beautifully. I really do.
Yes. And y'all can agree with that too, because a couple episodes ago we had brought up a movie that dibble dabbled in other stuff like that, and you did not get the ick from any of her scenes in this movie. So they played her character very well.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you're so right. Because you're right. On that other movie that we talked about, I felt icky the whole time. Maybe it was just the way they presented it. And on this one, I knew exactly what she was once I started seeing certain things. I said, she's practicing, but she's doing, she's in it. But she's also a woman of faith at the same time. And they meshed it so beautifully together and didn't make you feel, anyway, they didn't make me feel a certain way about it or anything like that. It was well done.
Yes. That also makes me think about, so after they kind of left there, they kind of split scene and go to the little town. And there's like all this movement. There's people walking around the town, different stores opening. And like, did you have any thoughts on the scene where they were in one store, and so the dad tells Lisa, which is their child that's running the cash register, he was like, go get your mom, and she goes across the street and gets her mom. What was your take on that piece?
As someone who used to dabble in cinematography and went to school for film, I was in love with that, because it was a one-shot scene and it was beautifully done. It was just such a good way to go from one part to another, and then the mom goes back and you get to go. I love that shot so much. That was one of my favorite shots of the whole movie. It was definitely probably top 3 or 4 shots in the movie, scenes in the movie. But also on a cultural standpoint, it's actually very historical, because if you think about it, y'all can do your own research as well. We won't bore you with too many details, but Asians and Asian Americans and Black Americans have a really strong, in the South, have a deep history with each other. We actually really helped each other way back then. And it's so funny because in some neighborhoods now, you still see the same thing where you have a lot of Asian influence and then you have a lot of Black people. They're usually around the same type of neighborhoods because this goes way back in like Jim Crow and stuff like that. And the big reason was because the Asians had the money, right? They had the money for the businesses and stuff. They came over, but the white people wouldn't allow them to be in their area of town. So they had to go to the Black area or that part of the town and, open their stores. And that was their clientele mostly, was Black people. For a very long time, that's what it was. They integrated within our culture. And so it really did this nice blend for many, many years. And like I said, it still happens today where you still see that. And that's why, right? So I thought that was really nice and historical as well.
Yes, that was a good scene.
It really was.
And Smoke, he was like, so if anybody comes to this truck, because so the truck was full of bootleg materials in the back. And so he gave the girls some money. And another thing that I kind of pulled from that too is it was kind of like a little financial literacy moment right there, because he was teaching her how to negotiate. And so he was like, yeah, I'll give you 10 cents to go ahead and wash this truck. And she was like, okay, yes, sir, I'll take it. And he was like, no. And he was like, ask some more questions, and he made her go for 20. And so she was like, okay, I'll do it. And so he was like, making a price, you have to have conversation. So I was like, yeah, negotiate that price, ma'am.
I am 35 and I just last year, I was already 35. Yeah, I was already 35 last year. But like last year, I did my first kind of negotiation for a job situation. Never did it before. Every job I went into, I either saw what it was and that's what I knew I was taking, or they told me and I'd be like, okay, yes or no. I never felt like I could negotiate. And it took me so many years to do that. I wish I would have done that way in the back, because I'm like, oh, and I've talked to people that's not Black and who's white or whatever. And they're like, oh no, I never take the first number. What? I spent my whole life taking the first number. Never thought I could do it. So I thought that was a beautiful moment as well. I thought that was so informative. No, I wish we would have got more of the town scene, to be fair. I actually really wanted more of the town scene because I enjoyed that one as well.
Yeah, that was nice because it felt communal. It was everybody talking to each other and just being like that town. And I miss that feeling. It used to be like that back in the 90s and the early 2000s. But child, now
people don't talk to each other, which is because people be crazy now, like crazy. So it's like you can't talk to everybody now, or you get stabbed or something crazy. Like, people are crazy now, so it's like you can't really speak to people as much, or if you don't know them already. Yeah, like, I agree. Andy's was great.
Yes, because I was thinking about the days when, like, if somebody asks for it, like, you see somebody needing help with their groceries, like, okay, well, where you live? You live around the corner? I can go take you to your house real quick. Now you will come up missing.
You will come up missing. Don't do it. You'll be in an apple pie by noon.
That made me think about this scene that it set the whole stage of the movie. So y'all, it was Remick. He was like the leader of all the craziness. So he ends up going to these people's home. This was a white couple. And so he went to their home. He's like, the Indians, they're out to get me. They done this, and this, and they really done me bad. And he was like, I'm trying to get away from them. Can you hide me inside your house? So he makes it sound real believable. I believe her name was Joan, the wife. She was like, okay, yeah. Well, first of all, she had that thing pointed at him because she was like, look, I don't know you.
I ain't gonna Jones from somewhere else.
Yes. And so then he gave her gold. And so that was like his exchange for the permission in that beginning part of the movie. And so he goes inside. The Indians come. They're looking for him. They're like, hey, basically warning them, like, hey, these people, they're coming and they're of no good. So don't let them inside your house. And if they're here, let me know so I can go ahead and get them. And so they leave. They have their interaction. She goes back in. She's looking for her husband. Sir has been bitten up. This was yes. And while they were kind of standing there on the porch, the guy had a companion with him because they were on horseback. Mind you, this was back in 1932. And so he's like, hey, basically the sun is about to go down. We need to leave.
I ain't gonna
round them up. Let's go.
Let me tell you, all skin folks ain't kin folks, but I'm telling you now, that is very much a Black thing to do. Like, hey, Rudy, it's about to be sundown. We got to go because we ain't playing. I ain't gonna fight you for your healing, sir. You want to stay in there? Stay in there. Bye. It's already too late anyways for you. You let them in, did you? All right, bye.
So their part got started, and so then it went from one person to 3 people just that quick. And so then they mosey on down the road and go into the town. And I will let you pick up on that part.
Well, that's one of my top 3 moments is, mind you, by all this time, y'all have to see the movie. We're not doing like scene by scene. So by this time, everyone is at the juke joint, right? They're all, in there partying, having a great time. So there's this really awesome moment where, and I'm not going to explain this part too much because it really is better if you just watch it. And it's a moment where music transcends, right? People with music, it transcends so many different things. And so Ryan Coogler did this really powerful moment showcasing that, and also showcasing the history of Black music throughout the time in America and how it started from somewhere else, like in Africa and all different places, and how it transformed into so much once it came on this land. And it was just a beautiful shot of all that. And so the camera pans out. It's this awesome thing happening in this juke joint. And then it pans out these 3 creepy vampire people out there, and they're just looking in like it's a steak, like a barbecue place in there, and there's a whole bunch of fresh barbecue. That's how they looking at this juke joint, like, ooh, we about to feast tonight. And so that's how it was looking. But it was this not, I keep saying beautiful moment, but it really was this beautiful moment. It was really interesting though, because I caught how it was one of those things where we talk about cultural appropriation now and things like that. And it really is sometimes people are looking from the outside in and they wish they could connect a certain way. And they know that they never will or they can't. But you get people who's like, well, maybe I can just assimilate like them. And it's like, no, you will always be outside the Jew joint, my love. I'm so sorry. I don't make the rules. I do not do that. I do not make rules.
I love that.
And it's one of those things where people either say, they're like, hey, we get it. Y'all got y'all thing. I will have our thing. But then there's some people like those 3 vampires who's like, no, we want that. We want you what y'all got. You know, and so it was a very eerie but still cool shot of that, showing that. And I think that imitates so much that's happening in the world to this day, which is interesting.
Yes, I love the way you broke that down. And that is a very good way to look at it, because they will, like the 3 vampires outside, and what they did, very, very cunning. So they made it seem like it was really enticing that other people that weren't them were missing out on something, and they bamboozled them folk is what happened.
Yep.
And they made it seem like, this is so glorious, and you come on our side, then everything is going to change for you, and just hyped it up. And child, it's a prank. That's what it is. And they kept enticing people with gold. So it was all about money for them, that whole exchange. And I feel like the money was the gateway to, also they asked permission to do certain things, but that money was the gateway to getting that permission. And I'm just like, wow, it spoke so many volumes.
Absolutely. And we'll get into later, like what this movie really meant to us. I'll elaborate more later, but what you said there was so true. Like a lot of stuff happened only because permission was given. And I think we touched on this in one of our episodes previously about that when we were talking about New Orleans and things like that. Like just learning, like sometimes we invite things in our lives. You know what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't have been there unless you didn't invite that situation or person or whatever into our lives. So it's a really good lesson. Like, hey, let's be a little careful. Yeah. With the spirits and things that we bring in. And I think that comes with maturity and age, but in learning life lessons. But oh man, after this movie for sure, I'll talk about later, but there were so many things physically that I had to change within my own household.
Yes, very good gems. Because y'all, as the time went on, so those 3 same vampires that stood outside the club, they was like, how you hating from outside the club? You can't even get in. Then they just tried, and they tried their hardest. Like they were coming up saying everything, and they played this one particular song standing at the front when they were trying to get in the first time. And I was like, did y'all listen to them words? Because basically they were talking about eating a person, if y'all really listen to those lyrics. And I'm like, no. But if you notice, like everybody that was standing there was Cornbread, there was Annie, there was Smoking Stack, there was Slim. Oh yeah, I said Sammy already. All of them were standing there. Everybody had a look on their face like, we not buying it. Stack is the one that sounded interested. He was like, not bad. And I was like, all you need to do is give the devil just a little bit and he gonna run and take it. And I was like, that was that part right there.
Yeah. You're right. I didn't even catch that. Like that he was more intrigued than the others. Other thing I did clock though is Annie knew immediately. She didn't know what it was immediately, but she knew something. She was like, "Oh, hold on, why you asking to come in?" type thing or whatever. Like she clocked it from the jump. Like that's the whole spirit. It like reminds me, like you do need to stay connected. Whatever your connection is, you need to be connected with something because that stuff, that gut feeling, that helps you in certain situations. And if you're not connected, sometimes you don't make the best decisions. You just be doing, exactly. The discernment's not there, and you never want to lose something like that. It will just quite literally save your life.
Yes. And then like after that, y'all, it just kind of started going downhill. One thing I will say is that they did have another person there. I believe her name was Mary, and she was one of Stack's old girlfriends. And so she ended up getting bitten by the vampire, y'all, and she got let back in the club. And that's where things started going bad from there. And so it's just like once you just it's kind of like that saying about fruit. So you let one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch, and that's exactly what happened. And I kind of feel like just skipping over some parts because, like Taylor May said, we don't have time to take you through the whole movie, but we're gonna do what we can. But I feel like after Stack got bitten and then they cleared out the club, that was the worst thing that they could have done. I feel like they should have stayed unified and it probably would have turned out a little bit different.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. I also found it really interesting. I don't know what it means per se. I've seen a lot of think pieces on why it could be, but if you know, like she could have literally stayed in there and just murdered everyone. She didn't really have to like run back, but she ran out. And she's like, I'm gonna kill her. Like, oh, that was a creepy part. I'm not gonna lie. That was the one part that had me like, I'm gonna dream about this later. Where she's like, I'm gonna kill every last one of us and leave. Yeah. Damn, you could have just killed them then. I'm confused. You would have killed a few at least, But she didn't. And she ran out. And I said, again, there's a lot of think pieces on why that is. I think it's because sometimes people don't want to just hurt. They don't enjoy just plain old hurting you. They enjoy the anticipation of it, the step by step of it. Some people are sick. And I just feel like that might have represented those kind of people. Like that would have just been too easy for her to just start killing everybody right then. And also, there's a thing about community. She knew she was one person who could only maybe get 2 people before everybody else fled, versus going out there with her community and getting near everyone. Right?
That's true.
More with community. I don't know. I don't know if it was supposed to be thought about that deep, but I thought it was so interesting. I'm gonna kill her. Like one of you leaves, runs out. I'm like, what?
Right.
Interesting. I really did.
Yeah, it's like, Mary, did you mean tonight? Are you coming back in a month? What's happening?
24 hours or here we go with that 24 hours again. How did he get into it? Yeah, I thought that was odd, but also like, are we supposed to think more of this?
And what's really weird too is like after they change, they still try to relate to you to make you be like, oh yeah, you can still trust me. And it's like, no, brother, I can't because look at your teeth and you drooling at the mouth. I cannot.
Stack was into it. He said, yeah, that's right. I'm doing it, mama. He was so happy. Child, he did not care until she got on it. And hold the hell.
That's exactly how it happened.
It's like, sorry, sir, you're in Quest Diagnostics now. They're taking your blood. Like, it's over for you. Too late. And I'm not a man basher or nothing like that, but I do feel like men don't have as much discernment than women do. And I feel like a woman would have clocked her instantly versus him. He just was like, oh, I'm about to get my rocks off up in this closet. All right, let's go. He wasn't thinking like she's acting weird, like she's acting way different. All night she's been trying to stay away in a way like cat and mouse. And now she's all on you. But obviously there's a difference here, but he did not care. Like, I don't care. And that's so true to some men. I'm not gonna say all.
Yes. And I will say this, I'm sorry to some of the fellas, but women will always be the downfall. I'm so sorry. Let me hold your hand while I tell you. But that's what it is. Because you just get easily distracted. Use your brain.
So I feel like we get manipulated by guys too, but at some point we clock it, right? We start clocking it. Whereas a guy, I think it takes longer for him to clock it. Yeah. I think it's a lot of that too, because I feel like women are extremely smart and things like that, and that can be used for good and evil, right? Fair, just like men can use it for good or evil. But yeah, it was interesting. Let's talk about the aspect of the vampires just can't come in. We kind of touched on it just a second ago. Like they just can't outright come in. You have to invite them in. So like, what did you think about all that? And what were your thoughts?
Yes, I feel like that was really interesting because they would come and I was like, how are you trying to do evil and you have manners? Like, stop. They would come up and be like, please let me in. Like, we need to be and they would even say that they brought up community. And I'm just like, but it's not the kind of community that we need though.
No.
So they would kind of like feed off of different things that they knew about you. And I feel like they didn't really know anything about you until you came on their side. And so to ask for their permission, I feel was very sneaky of them. Because again, it's like you don't even have good intentions. So why are you even asking? But it's just to let you know that they were working like with the evil spirit. So they have to get that clearance and able to do whatever it is they're doing to go ahead and come in. So each time, I don't care who it was or anything, they would ask, like, hey, can I go ahead and come in? And then again, this is where the money would come in. They would always pull out the gold and be like, here, let me go ahead and offer this up as well. So that had some validity to it because again, this is different stuff that we see in the current times today.
Yeah, 100%. And that is something I found so interesting. And I haven't seen a whole bunch of vampire movies and shows, but from the ones I've seen, that's actually pretty. I feel like the only one that didn't do that is Twilight. I don't think Twilight you had to invite anyone in or anything like that. You just walked on in. But any other kind of vampire thing, it had that same type of thing where it had to be an invitation in to some degree, things like that. So I do like how they kind of stuck with the old school vampire ways of that because it does make the most sense. Otherwise, everybody would just be vampires, right? Because you can just walk in anywhere. We'd all be dead, you know. And so, yeah, I'm not going to lie. I was going to talk about this later, but I'll just talk about it now. But after this movie, I got rid of my welcome mat. I did not do because I even searched online to see if I was crazy or if I was like the only one who felt weird about welcome mats now. And apparently I'm not. Apparently a lot of people actually posted TikToks and stuff about not having a welcome mat or a welcome sign at their door anymore before that movie ever dropped. So I know I'm not crazy. And then some of them were after seeing that movie. It's like, no, because you really think about it. And of course, it might be just too deep. Not everyone is welcome. Why would I say welcome to my house and welcome in my house when I don't even know who you is yet? Or in some instances, the amount of people, because I'm in a new neighborhood or whatever. And so it's still developing and stuff. And you wouldn't believe the amount of people, random people that come up to my door. Like creepy. Sometimes it's very giving creepy. You got solicitors. If you come in at night every time, that's a little creepy to me, but okay. You just got weird things happening here and there. And it's just like, yeah, why would I put a welcome sign like that? So ever since then, I haven't bought a welcome sign. It'll say like home sweet home or something like that. But I felt weird about it. I promise you that night I took the welcome sign off because it just felt creepy and eerie to me. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I like the thought process behind that though, because if you think about it, just having the word welcome out there, like that could be to anybody. It's not specifying who's welcome and what's welcome. I like that.
A little deep, but it's like, I can put something else.
Yeah, it's crazy too, because the last time I had a welcome mat was, y'all remember the episode that we did and we were talking about paranormal activity? Yeah. There was a welcome mat at that house. Don't have one over here. Absolutely.
There you go.
Dang, like y'all, when you sit back and kind of think about some stuff, you be like, wow, like, and it can get that deep where you just like, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. No, seriously, it really can. Yeah.
I like that. All right, y'all. So how y'all enjoying the episode so far? Hopefully very well. I hope y'all feel like y'all have watched the video or at least a little more familiar with it at this point, but still go watch it for yourself though, because it's very good. But Cornbread, he's one of the guys that was set in front of the club to watch the door. Hey, do you have your door fee? Come on inside. So he has to go use the bathroom. He goes out to the woods and he starts hearing these weird noises. Now, of course, we already know what it is because we're watching the film. He's just standing at the tree like, oh my gosh, what's happening? The 3 vampires got him, y'all. And so Cornbread gets bitten. A few scenes later, he comes back to the juke joint door. He like, hey, can I come in? So this is what Taylor May was talking about. Annie peeps game. And she's like, you could just take yourself and push on past Smoke, but you asking if you can come in and you've been in and out through here all night. And so yes, and he just starts making up these different excuses and different reasons why he wants to ask and why he needs to ask to come in. And so like she just automatically peep game and she's like, you are not who you say you are. And so she was like, go ahead and admit it. You dead, ain't you? And I was like, and so he just kind of paused a little bit. And so after he got tired of asking, he turns around and then he's like, okay, one more attempt. So he turns back around and he asks Smoke, he like, hey, can I at least get my money?
Money has been the common denominator this whole time.
Yes. Yes. And he had his hand close by his body and he's like, yeah, go ahead, give me my money. And I'm like, that's too close for me. But he asked for his money again. And so they just like, we're not doing it. So he goes ahead and bites somebody else and goes about his business. But I'm just like, each time, like the money is the main factor.
Every
And these
time.
people will try their best to like fool you to get you to let them in. But they held their ground for a good long time until I believe it was, I forgot the Asian lady's name, but she made me so mad in that scene. Grace, yes. And so they triggered her because they were talking about her daughter Lisa, and I understand, child, I understand, but it's like hold your ground, and that they're not gonna do nothing to her because they honestly were not leaving that town.
No.
But she folded and screamed out, y'all come in, and that's when all hell broke loose. And I was just like, wow.
And to me, again, you know, I'm the one who keep going deep, like my brother.
Yeah.
But to get deep, I hate to be that person. But it really does show sometimes how even when we're in community with other races and things like that, they gon' take care of their own before they consider taking care of us, right? Even though
Yes,
we have
yes.
been there for her, I'm not saying that we would have been more important, like Black people in there were more important than her child, but at that moment, your child, you know, is safe somewhere else. If they really wanted to do it, they would go. You wouldn't be able to stop them, no way. But to do
Right.
all that, and then, you know, so now you've put all us in danger and yourself and your daughter, because now you're going to have to go in the glory. You can't help your daughter no way. So what was that about? That's what made me mad. You sit up and did all that. You just went into the fire. Ma'am, you could have just went into the fire and left us out of that. Like, you didn't have to bring these people up in here. It was a whole.
She was the first one to turn into a rotisserie chicken and did all this and hollering. Like, ma'am, what are you doing? That was a great analogy because that does happen all the time. And there was also another thing that Remick said when he was at the door is that he was pointing out to the Black crowd. He was like, they don't want you to be alive. They won't let you build. And he was like, and you pretty much dead already to the world. And I was like, wow. So he was saying that he was the way to be successful and make it in the world, basically. And I was just like, it's still looked at like that today. But I promise you, if you really look at this movie intentionally, you will see so much stuff in it.
So, yes, you guys. So we talked about the scene of him going in this church. That is towards the end, but it doesn't quite end there. It seems like it's gonna end there. And then all of a sudden you're put into the future. And I actually won't spoil this completely for you guys because, again, it's one of those parts that's such a treat at the end. But there's this awesome moment that happens at the end between three characters technically. And I don't know, there's a lot to surmise from that. There's a lot to get from that, and there's no violence in that scene, nothing. It's just a lot of like kind of reminiscing, speaking to each other, and I thought it wrapped up the whole movie so well. It also allowed you to see, I will say, it did allow you to see that one of the characters was able to fulfill certain dreams that he had and live a long, long life. Which is great. And I just thought that was such a great way to end it. But also still leave like open-ended. I think Ryan Coogler said he's not going to do a Sinners 2, but to me, the way he did the ending, he could do a Sinners 2. And I think that was on purpose. So I really hope there is a Sinners 2. Please, Ryan, please. Please.
That would be awesome. Yes. I know I'll be one of the first people lined up to go see it. Got them tickets.
Yes. Absolutely.
No, but with all of that being said, just want to ask one last question before we close out for the night. Do you feel like vampires are a true thing?
Yes. We touched on it on one of the episodes before. I don't think they're all blood-sucking creatures, or maybe none of them are. But I do think it's an energy thing. I think that there's a lot of people who suck people's energies, and whether they know it or not, I do think that's a vampire-ish type situation. Whether I think that they suck your blood, like, you know, that we've always known vampires to be, I would say there's some good evidence out there that that could be true. I hope I never find out personally, but there's evidence out there that it's true, right? I mean, we just don't know. It's kind of like Bigfoot and all these other things. It could be true. It could not. There's been a lot of stories, throughout time about this. And I'm talking about prior to like years, like thousands and thousands of years ago, like people talking about certain accounts and things like that. There's dark beings out there who don't wish anyone good and do certain things. So maybe,
Yep.
I don't know.
Yes, I like your thoughts. And I
What about
agree
you?
too about the energy when it comes to the
Mhm.
whole vampire idea. And it's true. Like you can just feel like metaphorically you feel drained after you are around a bloodsucker because
Yes.
it's like they are just sucking your mind dry. And especially if you're an empathetic person, like you take on all of whatever they're giving out. So any of the negativity, being pessimistic, all of that stuff you're receiving in. And so they pretty much thrive off of that.
Yes.
And this is the last thing I'll kind of correlate with the movie. But at the end, you seen Remick and Sammy fighting in the lake. And basically, all of the power that Remick had, whatever happened to him, happened to the rest of his congregation, community, whatever you want to call them. And I was like, that is very powerful.
That's
Like, he
deep.
stole energy from everybody else. And then he was like the holder of that energy. And whatever happened to him, happened to it, just trickled down. And I was like, wow. So that just shows you how powerful that is. And it's like that in real life too.
Yes. Connection is so powerful and community so powerful because it can be used again for evil or good. When you're a community, one person eats, everybody eats. But also if
Yep.
one person destroys, everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like if it trickles down, it's like a domino effect, right? So if something positive is going on, then that touches and affects everyone. But when it's a negative situation, that still applies, right? So yeah, really interesting. Yeah, I forgot about that part.
Yes, because Sammy was like, "Look, I'm tired. It's been an all day fight. I'm gonna hit you with this guitar and keep it pushing."
Leave me alone. He was tired. Poor baby was tired.
But yeah, that movie is phenomenal. And there's, plenty of scenes that we did leave out. So y'all please feel free to look at that movie. Like Taylor May said, it is streaming on some platforms, so you can go check it out. But yeah, I hope y'all did enjoy this episode because it was really fun. Matter of fact, my pastor just did a sermon on sinners last weekend.
I gotta go back and watch that. That's gonna be good. And you guys, even if you've seen it already, just like Maria J did today, go back and watch it because you might have heard some things on this episode where you may have missed it. So you can go back and rewatch it with a fresh mind and all of that. So, yes, Maria J will be so proud of you if you do that.
Yes. Put crystal emojis down in the comments and I'm block you. No, I'm just playing.
Not block. I'm done.
I'm just playing, y'all. But yes. So y'all already know what it is. We're coming to a close on this episode. So make sure if you haven't already, which you should have by now, go ahead and head over to Vibes and Side Eyes podcast on Spotify and YouTube and hit that subscribe and follow button. We appreciate you 1,000%.
Absolutely. And until next time, you guys, we're bringing the good vibe
and the side eyes.
See you next time.
Bye. Y'all. Good night.